I did not even a little bit keep up with my reading journal this year. I fell off a couple of months in, maybe like 4 to be fair. I tried, but I am going to be talking in this video about how I am changing up my reading journal to try and actually stick to it in 2026. But before we get into that, let's just have a little look at the week that we are planning and the materials we are using. I am using a sticker kit called Hot Air Balloon, I believe, from Plannerface. This was in the Advent in 2024 and I absolutely love it. I used it because we were in Crete this week on holiday, but unfortunately I did get food poisoning, so the end of the week is not quite as happy as the beginning. So that was a bit of a faff. I think this is actually based on some place in Turkey, but I just thought the vibes were quite Grecian and it kind of worked for me, so I went with it. It's also obviously a holiday kit, so that's a win-win. The other things that happened this week were, mostly we were just on holiday, loving life. My brother had some important work meeting and we ended up staying in on that day. But unfortunately then I got food poisoning, so I didn't leave the house on Saturday or Sunday, which is not what you want to be doing on holiday. And spoiler alert, the following week I had to go to an urgent care centre. So that was fun. The other things I'm using in this spread are a foil puff and doll from Scribble Prince Co in mixed metal, sparkly gold, sparkly hollow, and underlays in orange foil from my shop in a mix of the brick pattern and the daisy gap underlays. And I really love how this mixture works with this kit. And I just thought it brought in the orange very nicely into the kit. That is why I used the orange on the Thursday, because the underlays were bringing a bit more of the orange in. I also do, of course, have my stickers pulled out in my handy Plannerface reusable sticker album, and I also do have my scripts that I have made myself. This kit is from Plannerface. I do PR for Plannerface, so you can use Tilly to save 10%. However, if you are watching this on the day it comes out, it is the last day of her Black Friday sale today, so you can save 25% if you go and shop now. That is automatic. You can mention me for an extra freebie if you are doing that. She does also have a Cyber Monday mystery, which, spoiler alert, I'm filming this voiceover the same day this video comes out. But the Cyber Monday mystery sneak is totally my vibes, and I'm super excited for it. So yeah. That's all of that sort of thing got out of the way. Let's talk about my reading journal. So this year I used a mixture of a reading journal, pre-printed reading journal from a Crete, and also reading journal pages in my bullet journal, in my disc-bound bullet journal. The main one that did not work for me and I stopped using was the Crete pre-printed bullet reading journal. And this is because it just didn't have the pages I wanted, and it had pages I didn't care about. I also didn't find the structure was exactly the same every month. I didn't need a full page for a TBR and then a full page for books read and then another place to record every book read. It was too much. And there wasn't any place to put book covers other than like one page. And I just didn't vibe with it. I thought I would at first, and to be honest, I thought I might as well use it. I could have sold it. Probably could have sold it unvinted for a decent price, but I didn't. So at the end of the day, it didn't work for me and I fell off, and that's okay. But why did I fall off? Well, because it just didn't interest me. The things it wanted me to record wasn't what I wanted to record. I wanted to know which books I was reading for what prompts. I wanted to look at my yearly reading goals alongside my, what I wanted to read that month. I wanted to decide on what books I was reading based on what yearly trackers I was doing and things like that. So yeah, it didn't work. The things that did work from it, I have to say, were having a bookshelfie, having a place to track book of the month, though I fell off this when I stopped using it, and having somewhere to mark down what books I had read. That's it. That's all I found that worked from it. I set myself too many goals for this year. I didn't enjoy having monthly TBRs. I found I wanted to use some pictures in this reading journal, so there was a place to track what you'd read every day. So I put stickers in that and book covers, and that it was just way too much work. I didn't enjoy reviewing every single book, because if I didn't enjoy it, I didn't really have a lot to say other than this was rubbish. What else do I have to say? And it was just really boring, just writing something. It didn't enjoy me. it didn't fill me with enjoyment. It didn't enjoy me. I'm going to enjoy it either. It also had lots of the yearly pages and series trackers and things at the back. That doesn't make sense to me. Why are they at the back? Why do I have to go to 3 places, the start, the month, and the back, to keep up with things? No. So that's why it didn't work for me. The things that did work, generally, were in my bullet journal version. So my reading goal tracker, so a tracker to track my Goodreads goal. It's not a Goodreads goal because I don't keep up with Goodreads. I keep up with Storycraft, but you know what I mean. I enjoyed having my yearly reading challenges in there. So that was Buzzwordathon, Alphabet Challenge, and a Year of Goober. I enjoy having covers in my reading journal. That is just a thing I enjoy. And I enjoyed having space to track the book club reads, and I liked having somewhere to look at genres. The other things that didn't work is that I had a rating scale. I don't look at it. I rate on vibes. I've gone back and forth on whether I should keep doing this, but I read for enjoyment at the end of the day. And even if something is badly written, if I race through it, absolutely eat it up, and I'm thinking about it afterwards, it should get 5 stars. Like, even if it's terribly written, in my opinion, I'm not here for, like, excellent prose. I'm not a literature student. I am here for enjoying my books. And for non-fiction, if it's terribly written, but I get loads out of it, why shouldn't it have 5 stars? Like, that is kind of my feeling. But I also am very stingy with 5 stars, so I not very much gets 5 stars. I have to keep thinking about it for a long time to give out 5 stars. So just having that just doesn't work for me. I didn't like the achievements, although I liked the idea of it from Creating Co. Although I loved the idea of it, a lot of them weren't relevant to me, or like, it just didn't work for me. Having 25 recommended books in 2025 was a lot, and I knew that going in. But we are on the 1st of December, and I have 9 still to read. That is not going to happen. And I think having too many books set at the beginning of the year to read was too much for me. And I think that's kind of everything that I had to say about what worked and didn't work. So what I did then is, once I'd looked at those, I looked at the pages that I wanted in a reading journal. I did follow the hype. I went for a square journal, and my reasons for that were just, I really liked the square journal for my travel journal, and I was just really excited about the idea of using a square journal regularly. So I have decided to go with a square journal. I had to get the reading journal, the reading bookshelf planner, notebook is the word I'm looking for. I'm running on very little sleep. I woke up at 3:30 this morning and haven't been back to sleep. So yeah, I looked at the Archer and Olive bookshelf planner and I was like, I have to have that journal, sorry. But I didn't want their pre-printed one, and that is because it just wouldn't work for me. I want this to be a source of creativity, of joy. So, how am I planning on making sure I stick to it for next year? Well, I decided that basically the wins were staying as far as possible. So, those things had to stay in my reading journal. I also wanted a place to look at my stats over the year, but month by month. I thought that could be a really cool stats page. I like stats. I used to keep a reading spreadsheet to look at that, but actually Storygraph tracks most of the things I want it to. And if it doesn't, you can add tags to track the things that you care about. So I love that. I heard Jessie Corinne mention the 52 Book Club Challenge. Again, I'm going to use it similarly to how she said she's going to use it, is just as an interest point rather than it's something I'm going to strive to achieve. That's the same with the Alphabet Challenge for me. It's an interest point. I want to try and read more non-fiction books this year, so I wanted to have somewhere to track that. And that's what made me think, I need somewhere to track my goals. I had too many goals last year, but I also had nowhere to track them, so I had no idea if I was achieving them. So there was that I wanted. I think I need a series tracker, but one that works for me. The series tracker in the Loom Crate, it was at the back. Just why? I really want to work on reading books I own, so I wanted something in the planner for that. And I also wanted somewhere to mark DNFs, because I don't count DNFs in my reading number, so I needed somewhere to track those. I wanted to include games I played and things I've watched as well, so I can do, particularly for games I played, because I tend to play a game a lot and then go off it, basically. So at the moment, me and my husband are playing Kiwi. It took us nearly a year to get through the first playthrough of it, and we have replayed it in the last week, basically. We're a little bit obsessed at the moment. So that is what we are playing all the time, and I'd love to do a page for Kiwi if we're still playing it in the new year, for example. I also want to do it for things watched. We have watched one film this year. Well, one film since Baylor was born, and I watched most of Love Island. I fell off at the end. But that's pretty much all I've watched on TV or things this year. I generally listen to audiobooks or watch YouTube. So, yeah. I want a graph for how many pages I've read each month. I just think that's a really interesting statistic and minutes listened to, but that is going to be included on my annual stats page. I wanted a list of books read. I wanted to do a ranking matrix rather than a book brackets. I've thought about for my other reads, so the things that aren't getting a space, basically aren't 4-star or above reads, that I want to do a one-line review for them, and I think I'll do that in my monthly pages. I also want to buy less books. I want to read more of the books I own and buy less books this year, and my goal is to read 3 books for every one I buy. The difficulty with this is I get an Audible credit every month, and Audible credits actually expire, so you have to use them. So I'm automatically probably going to buy 12 books this year from Audible credits, but I'm going to try and focus on those being my book club reads, so that I'm not buying books unnecessarily. And I wanted a place to make sure that I was reading books. So I took that information and I went through everything that I wanted to put in a reading journal. And I have quite a lot of pages to set up at the beginning of this. You've kind of had a little summary of what they are. But from that, I then also looked at one of the things I loved about my bullet journal pages was that I was using stickers, but I was using Creating & Co's, and a lot of Creating & Co's are designed for either B6 planners or for 7x9 planners to stick in them. So I was like, that's not going to work for me because I'm going to be using a square journal. I had already bought some stickers for this, and I knew going in when I bought those that I planned to use them for my reading journal. So, for example, I bought the bookshelf from Rhymer Made to track my yearly goal, and I bought the bookcase shelves from Plannerface to write in my read to make a bookshelfie with those. I had some reading tracker things that Rhymer Made has released. They are in a very rainbow format, which is very Rhymer Made and very me, to be fair, but it's not really going to match with the aesthetic I'm going with. But I've decided I just don't care. I love rainbow stuff. I'm going to decorate the rest of the page with the washi tape and go with the rainbow. This planner is going to be colourful. I'm going to add loads of book covers into it, and that's why the rainbow really works no matter what your format is, because if you're putting book covers in, your reading journal is going to be colourful by the end of the year. So anyway, I took all of those pages and I made a list of the pages I wanted to keep, and then I put them in an order. And this is the pages I'm putting in and a little bit about why I think this will work. So I decided I'm going to put in an index. That is because if I decide I want to add in any annual pages later in the journal, then I want a space to do that. Also, I'm probably not going to do as many reading challenges this year. Last year I did 3 of Creating & Co's seasonal challenges, but I've decided I want to mood read a bit more, and I also don't want to feel trapped in not reading my own books because I need something to fill a prompt. And I'm doing quite a few annual challenges, so I don't know how many readathons or reading challenges I'm going to do throughout the year, but I have got several at the start of the year, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm putting the index in. I, of course, had to have a bookshelfie, and as I've said, I'm going to be using Plannerface stickers to bulk that out, and I think that's going to look amazing. I also wanted somewhere to track my goals, so I want to use the Rhymer Made bookcase to track my 100 new books. So that is not reread. It can be a reread, but not of the last year, if that makes sense. So if I read it last year, it's counting as a reread, if that makes sense. If I didn't read it last year, it's not. So I reread the His Dark Materials trilogy quite a lot, because it's my going to sleep book. So yeah, for example, that is going to not count in my 100 new books. I want to track my arcs and get NetGalley to 80%. So I've got a space to track that on this page. So this is my goals page, basically. I want to read 50 of my own books and 12 Kindle Unlimited books. So that's all going to be in like one goal spread. But rather than having a list of my goals, it's going to be a place to track my goals. And I just think that's quite a nice change for me, because it's not just like, oh, these are the things you want to achieve. This is how you achieve these things. Just like on how you achieve and track them, because you will see if you are not achieving them. Then I want a place for book of the month. I think that's important to me, like to have my favourite read somewhere. I then move on to my reading challenges. So the first one of those is Buzzwordathon. I've been doing Buzzwordathon for several years. I love that it's just one book a month and it's really like simple. You just have to find a certain word in a title. I just think that's a great challenge. The alphabet challenge, as I've already said, I don't intend to do every single letter. It's just more an interest point. I might do it with names this year, rather than like names of authors rather than names of books, but I haven't decided that yet. Let me know in the comments down below which you think I should do. I'm just trying to check. I've not got very much time left. So then I'm just going to rush through the others. I'm then going to do my reading book list, which is a challenge from Roma Made, A Year of Goober, 32 Book Club Challenge, Goober's Book Club, TPD Book Club, because I want somewhere to mark my book clubs. You know what? I'm just going to keep talking and I'm going to make the video a bit longer. So let's jump back a little bit. So the reading book list is a challenge from Roma Made. Again, you can pick that up. She is having Jingle and Joy sale this week, so her shop is also on sale as of today. So yeah, little promo for her there. She is my best friend, but I do love her stickers. The Year of Goober is Jashi Curran's reading challenge, and I intend to do that, and I actually intend to do both prompts each month, so that is going to be another 2 books a month. So to be fair, I am setting myself up with 6 books to read a month, which is a little, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is too many challenges still, but I'm just going to go with the flow and see what happens. I've got the 52 book club challenge, but as I've already said, I don't intend to like complete all of that again. Then I've got my 2 book clubs, so I intend to do Jashi Curran's Goober Book Club this year, and also the TPD Book Club, which is on Patreon, and I absolutely love that. So that's all of my reading challenges / book club type things. Next, I move on to the tracking of what I've read. So I'm going to have a books read page, and this is for tracking sort of what star rating everything got, when I finished it, and also where I bought it or how I achieved it, got it, and that's just going to be a table view. I also want to track the books I've bought for the same reason, but I am only giving myself one side of paper for that, rather than the 4 sides of paper I'm giving myself for books read. That doesn't quite achieve my goal of 3 to 1, that's 4 to 1, so I may need to set a second page for that up, but I'm going in with a good intention. I didn't want this to take up much space. That's something else that the Crete journal had. It had a full page of books bought every month, and I was like, this is just encouraging me to buy more books. So I wanted it to be small. On the other side of that, I'm going to have my DNF graveyard to remind me that actually I don't need to finish every book. If I'm not enjoying it, don't finish it. Then I'm going to have a table again for things watched and games played. Things watched is going as one table because at the end of the day, I'm not watching very much at the moment, so why would I track loads, you know? Then I am going to have my genre tracking, which I'm using the Tetris page from Roma Made again. She has got square versions and a 5 journal size, or B6, I don't know. She's got standard page size and a square journal size of all of these. Mostly for me, thanks Sophie. I'm also going to do a series tracker. That's probably going to be table type view, because again, I don't need it to be complicated. I want to know what books I read that are in series that I want to continue. I'm not going to put every series in there. Loads of romance books are series, and I read quite a lot of romance, so yeah. I'm then going to put in my physical, Audible and Kindle TBRs, and I'm not going to lie to you, there's 300 books that I own that I have not read recently, and by recently I mean in the last 5 years. So there's that. This is why I need to read at least 50 books I own this year. So that is going to take up 5 double-page spreads, but I'm going to do what Peace Plan Reads does. Peace Plan Love, Peace Plan Reads. I think it's Loves and Reads now, actually, is her YouTube name. But anyway, I'm going to use what she does and have a space for every single one of those, and then I can stick a book cover in it if I actually read it. If I decide to DNF it, I'm going to nick what Monica does from Bibliophile by Night, and she puts the book cover in and then puts a white cross on it. So that's what I'm going to do for that. I'm allowed to unhaul these books, particularly the Kindle books. Some of those I bought like 15 years ago. I bought in Stuff Your Kindle days, and I bought like 20 romance books I don't really care about anymore. So I am allowed to A, DNF them, or B, unhaul them. Obviously, you can't really unhaul from Kindle and Audible, but the decision to DNF that counts as unhauling to me. Anyhow, then I'm going to have my monthly stats page spread where I can look at my stats over the whole year, but by month. And then I'm going to finish it with my ranking matrix and then my top 10, 15 reads. I haven't decided how many I'm doing in my ranking matrix in a list by cover, because I think that will look nice. I'll probably do 12 or 15 because that's what will fit nicely on the page based on the planning I've already done. So that is the plan for my reading journal and why I think it's going to be better for me than last year. I hope that's kind of made sense. If you want to hear me talk about more reading journal things or anything, leave a comment down below. But on the screen at the moment, there is a video when I talk a bit more about this process for my standard bullet journal, or a video YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like down below, all that kind of jazz, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!